The Venza glided smoothly down the empty streets, the city waking up around them. Alex sat quietly, her hands clasped in her lap, glancing occasionally at Ander. His jaw was tight, and his eyes scanned every corner, the protective instinct in him unshaken. Damien drove without speaking for several minutes, letting the silence settle over them. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm but deliberate. "I know what you've been through," he said, eyes briefly meeting Alex's in the rear-view mirror. "The Bleaks, the Hunter situation, your father's secrets. You've been kept in the dark for too long." Alex's heart skipped. "You know about Bianca?" she asked cautiously. Damien nodded. "Yes, and not just Bianca. There are others, people who played their roles, carefully manipulating situations for their benefit. Your family, your father included, try to shield you, but the web is complicated." Anders' hands clenched into fists. "Who exactly are you talking about? Are you saying my dad?" "Your father did what he could," Damien interrupted softly. "But there were forces even he couldn't control. He wanted to protect you, your sister, your family's legacy. He left messages, clues for the ones he loved. But not everyone followed them correctly." Alex swallowed hard. "Messages, clues? Like what?" Damien glanced at her, then back at the road. "Some truths are too heavy to be told all at once. You felt the distance, the secrets, the manipulations. Those aren't accidents. Your father left a trail for you and Ander to follow. Proof of who has been honest and who has been deceitful. It's time you see it." Ander's brow furrowed. "Why now? Why tell us this now?" Damien exhaled. "Because the past is catching up. Bianca, the Bleaks, even some allies, they all have agendas. You've already seen a fraction today. What you saw with Sheena, with your parents. It's only the beginning. If you don't understand what's happening, you'll always be reacting instead of controlling your own story." Alex's mind raced. The day had already been chaotic, and now this mysterious man was hinting at even deeper layers of secrets. "And this trail," she said, voice trembling slightly, "it leads where?" Damien's eyes flicked to her, serious. "To the heart of your family's history. To the people who truly shaped it. To the ones who meant well, and the ones who didn't. You will meet some of them soon, face some truths that will hurt, and some that will heal." The car slowed to a stop near an unassuming building tucked behind tall hedges. Damien turned off the engine and looked at them, his expression unreadable. "This is where the first piece of the puzzle is. I suggest you brace yourselves. What you're about to uncover will change the way you see everything. The Bleaks, the Hunters, and even your father's choices." Alex's grip tightened on Anders' hand. "We're ready," she said, though her voice wavered with uncertainty. Damien nodded once. "Then follow me, carefully, and trust no one outside this room until you know the full story." As they stepped out, a cold breeze swept past, carrying a hint of mystery and danger. Alex's heart pounded. She glanced at Ander, who gave her a reassuring nod. Together, they followed Damien through the building's doors, unaware that every step they took was leading them closer to truths that could either save or shatter their family forever. The hallway was dimly lit, the walls lined with portraits Alex didn't recognize. Each frame seemed deliberate, the gaze of the people inside watching her as she passed. Ander stayed close, his hand brushing against hers every so often, a silent reassurance. Damien stopped in front of a large, unassuming door. He produced a key from his coat pocket, sliding it into the lock with a practiced motion. The door creaked open, revealing a room lined with shelves, each stacked with neatly labeled folders and boxes. "This," Damien said, gesturing around, "is where your father stored everything. The truths, the warnings, the names of those you can trust, and those you cannot." Alex's breath caught. "All this, my dad kept a secret all this time?" Damien nodded. "He wanted you and Ander to have the knowledge when you were ready. He feared if you knew too early, you'd be in danger. He left instructions on how to interpret each piece, and why each document mattered." Ander's eyes scanned the room in disbelief. "How did you even get access to this?" "I was trusted by your father," Damien replied evenly. "Not fully, but enough. I promised him I would help you both when the time came. That time is now. Alex moved closer to a stack labeled Bleak Family Correspondence. Her fingers trembled as she opened a folder. Inside were letters, handwritten notes, even photographs, some recent, some decades old. Each document revealed careful manipulation, power struggles, and alliances Alex hadn't imagined. "Look at this," Damien said, pointing to a folded note dated years before Alex was born. "Your father foresaw conflicts with the Bleaks and the Hunters. He warned you, if Bianca Hunter tried to interfere, she would not act alone. Someone within the Bleak family was assisting her behind the scenes." Alex's heart skipped. "You mean someone orchestrated what happened at the mansion today?" Damien's gaze was steady. "Yes, Bianca was only the visible part of a larger plan. She's cunning, but she is not the mastermind. Whoever is pulling the strings wanted to destabilize your family, and today you saw the first layer of it." Anders' hands clenched into fists. "Then we need to find out who, before they make another move." Damien's eyes softened slightly. "Exactly. And your father anticipated that you would need guidance. That's why there are instructions here." He handed Alex a thin, sealed envelope. "Open this first. It's the key to understanding your father's strategy." Alex's hands shook as she broke the seal. Inside was a letter, written in her father's unmistakable handwriting. "My dearest Alex and Ander, if you are reading this, it means the time has come to know the truth. Bianca Hunter is only part of the challenge, and the Bleaks hold pieces of a puzzle you must solve. Trust your instincts, protect one another, and do not be blinded by appearances. The ones who seem closest may be the ones farthest from the truth. Follow this trail carefully. It will lead you to those who truly care and to the revelations you need. Love, always, Peter's Coker." Alex's eyes filled with tears as she looked up at Ander. "Dad, he wanted us to know, to act, to protect ourselves even now." Ander's jaw tightened. "Then we start now. Whoever is behind this, we won't let them harm our family, or Sheena." Damien stepped back, a faint smile on his face. "Good. Your father trusted you both with this responsibility. And now, it's up to you to finish what he started." Alex folded the letter carefully, tucking it close to her heart. She glanced at Ander, determination blazing in her eyes. "We do this together. No secrets, no mistakes." Ander nodded. Together. Outside, the city's morning sun had fully risen, but in the hidden room, Alex and Ander felt the weight of shadows. Shadows cast by secrets, lies, and a family's tangled past. The journey ahead would test them, but they were ready. Little did they know, someone had been watching them enter the room. Hidden behind the curtains of the building across the street, a figure's eyes gleamed with interest. Bianca Hunter may have been one problem, but this figure was a much larger one, and they were moving their pieces carefully. Alex folded the letter and glanced at Ander. "We need to start somewhere. Dad left instructions. Let's figure out who we can trust and who we can't." Ander nodded, scanning the room. "These folders, the photographs, everything, we need to catalog it. Look for patterns, connections, dates. If someone is manipulating things, it will show here." Alex picked up a folder labeled Bleak Alliances 2005 to 2025. She flipped through carefully, eyes widening as she saw familiar names. Some of them people who had attended the mansion breakfast. "Ander, look at this. JB, Senior Bleak, even Luke. They're mentioned in notes about power plays and influence. Some of them are allies, some we're not sure yet." Ander leaned over her shoulder. "So Bianca isn't acting alone. She's part of a network, maybe even more than one." Alex's phone buzzed. It was a text from Damien. "Do not go anywhere alone. Someone is watching. I will guide you when the time is right." Her stomach tightened. "Ander, someone's already watching us." Dad was right. Ander gritted his teeth. "Then we make the first move before they do. Let's start with the people who were at the dining room yesterday. If we can figure out their true loyalties, we can predict Bianca's next step." Alex pulled out another folder, labeled Hunter Correspondence. Inside were letters, emails, even a few screenshots of messages between Bianca and unknown contacts. One line caught her eye. Ensure she does not interfere. Keep the child close. Distract him when needed. Alex's heart sank. She's been planning this for years, and she's been used as a pawn. Anders' hand went to his chin. Then we protect her first. If we can keep her safe, we have time to uncover the rest. Suddenly, the door creaked behind them. Both spun around. Damien was standing there, eyes serious. I told you, don't be alone. Whoever is watching isn't far. They need to see what you're doing, but they don't need to interact yet. Alex swallowed hard. Damien, who is it? He shook his head slightly. Not yet. First, you need a plan. Who do you trust in the Bleak household? Who is likely to act in your favor? Ander exhaled slowly. JB, he seemed sincere. Senior Bleak, harder to read. Luke, tricky, but I think he'll follow reason. Sheena, obviously we protect her. Bianca, obviously not. Damien nodded. Good. Start by creating a timeline of events, cross-reference it with the folders, and keep communication limited to trusted channels. I'll watch over the situation and alert you when the time comes to confront your enemies directly. Alex looked at Ander, determination blazing in her eyes. We can do this. Dad trusted us with everything for a reason. We won't fail him or Sheena. Ander's hand brushed hers. Together we won't. Outside, hidden in the shadows, the figure watching from across the street smirked. Bianca was only the beginning. The real game had just begun. Alex and Ander spent the next hour sorting through the folders and documents Damien had helped them secure. Every piece of paper, every message, and every photograph painted a story far more intricate than they had imagined. Names repeated, subtle patterns emerged, and little by little, the puzzle started forming. Look at this, Ander said, pointing at a folder with several highlighted names. These people have been moving behind the scenes for years. Not all of them are connected to Bianca directly, but they've been influencing events that affected our family and Dad's legacy. Alex frowned. Some of these names, JB, Senior Bleak, even Luke, could any of them be playing both sides? I trust them, but I need to know who is truly loyal. We can't afford mistakes. Damien stepped closer, voice low. Trust is earned. Some will act in your favor because they see reason. Some because they fear consequences. Keep your allies close and your instincts sharper. Ander clenched his fists. Then we test them. Carefully. We find out who is friend and who is foe before Bianca can make her next move. Just then, Alex noticed a small envelope tucked behind one of the folders. Her curiosity got the better of her, and she carefully opened it. Inside was a single note in neat handwriting. The one who smiles in your face may plot behind your back. Look where you least expect. Her heart raced. Ander, someone is already warning us. This isn't just Bianca anymore. There's someone else, and they're closer than we think. Ander's eyes narrowed. We need to start at the Bleak mansion. If someone within the family is leaking information, or worse, plotting, then that's the first place we need answers. Alex nodded, her resolve firming. We'll approach it carefully. No sudden moves, no revealing what we know. We observe, gather evidence, and confront only when we're certain. Damien's expression grew serious. One wrong step, and Bianca will know you're onto her. The moment she realizes, she'll move fast, and the entire plan will collapse. You have to stay 2 steps ahead. Ander looked at his sister. Determination mirrored in her eyes. We've faced challenges before, Alex. This is just another storm. And just like before, we'll weather together. Alex exhaled and stood, brushing off the tension from the intense morning. Then it settled. First stop, the mansion. Second stop, uncovering who's really behind this. Third, protecting Sheena at all costs. Damien stepped back, nodding. Good. I'll monitor from a distance. Your family doesn't realize the game that's unfolding, and it's time you take control. The siblings exchanged a glance, silently acknowledging the weight of the task ahead. As they stepped out into the crisp morning air, the shadows behind them shifted, unnoticed. A pair of eyes followed every move, waiting for the right moment to strike. The mansion loomed ahead, its twin-like facade casting long shadows in the morning light. Alex's hand tightened around Anders as they approached the gate. despite its familiar appearance. Something about the place felt different, charged, almost like the walls themselves were watching. "Stay close," Alex whispered. "We need to see what Bianca is planning without drawing attention." Ander nodded, eyes scanning every movement around them. The maids bustled about, clearing the remnants of breakfast, and a few gardeners tended the grounds. Inside, muffled voices carried through the slightly open windows, but none of them were expecting intruders in plain sight. Alex led Ander to a side entrance rarely used. They slipped through the hall quietly, careful to remain unseen. The faint click of a door opening drew their attention. They froze. Bianca appeared, flanked by Luke, her posture confident, her voice sharp as she addressed him. "And if she thinks she can outmaneuver me, she's mistaken. I've been waiting for this moment. Everyone else is too blind to see the truth." Luke smirked, seemingly amused, but his eyes betrayed something else, a faint unease. "Careful, Bianca. Words can make more enemies than friends. You're treading dangerous ground." Bianca ignored him, turning toward a small, ornate table where Sheena had been quietly playing earlier. "And your little puppet," she muttered. "I'll handle her if I have to." Anders' jaw tightened. He nudged Alex, who followed his gaze toward Sheena. The little girl looked up, sensing tension, but remained engrossed in her toys, unaware of the subtle power play unfolding around her. Alex whispered, "We need evidence. Observe, record, but don't intervene, not yet." They moved closer, ducking behind a heavy curtain. Ander pulled a small camera from his bag, while Alex jotted down details in a compact notebook. Every gesture, every word, every glance could be crucial. Bianca's voice grew louder, more commanding. "You think you can control everything, but I know the truth. I know what your family hides. And soon they'll see I'm the one pulling the strings." Luke's smirk faltered. "You may be cunning, Bianca, but you underestimate loyalty. Mess with the wrong people, and the consequences won't be kind." Alex's eyes met Anders. "She's dangerous, but she's also overconfident. That's our advantage." Just then, JB entered the room, his presence immediately commanding silence. Bianca's eyes widened ever so slightly, and she straightened, adjusting her posture. "Morning, Bianca." "Luke." JB's voice was calm, yet carried an unmistakable authority. "I see tensions are rising. Let's hope we can resolve matters without turning the household upside down." Bianca's lips curled into a faint, calculated smile. "Of course, Grandpa. I wouldn't dream of causing trouble." "Not yet." Alex scribbled quickly in her notebook. "Not yet," she murmured. Exactly what we needed to know. Ander exhaled quietly. "We're in deep waters, Alex, but we're ready. Time to play smart." As JB engaged Bianca, Alex and Ander slipped back to a hidden vantage point, their minds already racing. Every move she made, every whispered plan, was now part of a growing map they intended to decode. Outside, sunlight filtered through the mansion's towering windows, casting patterns on the polished floors. But inside, shadows of betrayal, power, and secrecy twisted through the halls. And in the middle of it all, Alex and Ander prepared to uncover the truth and protect Sheena from the chaos looming ever closer. Bianca lingered near the dining room, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Every step was deliberate, a statement of authority. She glanced toward Sheena, who was quietly drawing on a notepad, unaware of the simmering tension. Luke, leaning against the wall, raised an eyebrow. "You really think you can intimidate everyone with a glare and a few words?" Bianca smiled, a slow, calculated curl of her lips. "I don't intimidate, Luke. I control. And control is the only thing that matters here." JB, watching from his chair, shook his head ever so slightly. "Control without strategy is nothing. Remember that, Bianca. Power alone cannot sway a family built on loyalty." Bianca's eyes flickered toward JB. "You've taught me well, Grandpa. But sometimes lessons are best learned the hard way." At that moment, Alex and Ander, hidden behind the staircase banister, exchanged a knowing glance. Alex whispered, "She's making her first move. Look at how she positions herself, assessing reactions. This is exactly what we feared." Ander nodded, camera in hand. Every word, every gesture. We need proof of what she's capable of. And we can't let Sheena get caught in the crossfire. Bianca moved toward the living room where the rest of the family had gathered. She cast a glance over her shoulder, eyes narrowing at Alex, who had just returned downstairs. The famous Alex. Enjoying a walk in the fresh air? How quaint. Alex smiled politely, hiding the storm brewing inside. Bianca, you seem energetic today. Bianca's gaze lingered on Alex for a moment, then shifted to Sheena. Your daughter is a bright one. But children learn quickly, don't they? Sheena, picking up on the subtle tension, hugged her notepad a little tighter. I'm just drawing, Mommy. Bianca's lips pressed into a thin line. Of course, just drawing. But remember, little ones notice more than you think. Luke snorted from the side. You've been watching too many dramas, Bianca. This isn't your stage. Bianca's eyes locked on him, cold and sharp. Luke, everyone has a stage, and everyone has a role. Yours is insignificant. JB cleared his throat, a quiet but firm reminder of authority. That's enough, both of you. Let's not turn a household gathering into a battlefield. Breakfast was enough chaos for today. Bianca's jaw tightened, but she nodded, retreating gracefully, though the glint in her eyes promised trouble. She moved the piano in the corner, plucking at the keys absent-mindedly, her mind clearly racing ahead, plotting the next step. Alex turned to Ander. She's testing boundaries. Every word, every move, she wanted a reaction. Ander lowered the camera, his voice low, and we're giving her none. Not until we know exactly what she's planning. We need patience, Alex. Every move we make now counts. Outside, sunlight streamed into mansion, bathing the hall in golden light. But inside, tension hung thick like a storm cloud. Bianca was calm, calculated, but her presence was enough to ripple through the household. And at the center of it all, Sheena sat quietly, clutching her notepad, unaware of the subtle war unfolding around her. But soon, the pieces would fall into place, and every hidden truth in the bleak mansion would come to light. Bianca's fingers glided over the piano keys, the soft melody a stark contrast to the storm brewing in her mind. Each note seemed to mock the family, a subtle reminder of her presence and influence. Sheena peeked at her curiously, tilting her head. Mommy, why does she play like that? Alex knelt beside her daughter, brushing a strand of hair from her face. She's just making music, darling. Nothing to worry about. But Bianca's music wasn't just music. Every chord, every pause was deliberate, a challenge, a statement. Luke scowled, glaring at the piano. Is she trying to hypnotize us or something? JB chuckled softly, shaking his head. No, son, she's testing patience. Don't give her the satisfaction of a reaction. Meanwhile, Ander observed from across the room, camera ready. His eyes followed Bianca's every move, noting the subtle ways she measured reactions. She wasn't careless. She was strategic, calculating every glance and gesture. Alex, he whispered, stepping closer. She's not just here to annoy us. She's studying the battlefield, learning the players. Every time she plays a piano, she's gauging who reacts and who doesn't. Alex exhaled slowly, steadying herself. Then we make sure we don't give her any ammunition. She'll find nothing if we remain calm and united. Bianca's eyes flicked toward them, her lips curling in a faint, knowing smile. She could sense their quiet observation, their subtle plotting. It was a game now, a chessboard with the Bleaks and her as pieces. Suddenly, the piano music stopped. Bianca rose gracefully, turning to the family with a composed smile. I believe breakfast can wait. There are far more interesting discussions to be had, don't you agree? Luke muttered under his breath. Oh, here we go. Alex tightened her grip on Sheena's hand. Stay close, darling. Nothing will happen to you. JB's eyes narrowed slightly, but his voice remained calm. Bianca, if you wish to speak, speak plainly. No games. Bianca's smile didn't falter. Of course, Mr. Bleak, but sometimes the most important truths are revealed through subtleties. Ander exchanged a glance with Alex. She's planning something. We just need to be ready. At that moment, the maid returned with a tray of coffee and pastries. Bianca's eyes lingered on the tray, a silent reminder that control could also be exerted through small gestures, like denying the family a peaceful breakfast. Sheena tugged at Alex's sleeve, whispering, "Mommy, why is she being so mean?" Alex crouched to her daughter's height, whispering back, "She's testing boundaries, darling. But we're stronger than that. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's standing firm despite it." Bianca's gaze shifted toward Sheena, and for a fleeting moment, a shadow of recognition crossed her face. The child was innocent, yet she carried the weight of past alliances and conflicts. Bianca's strategy evolved immediately. She would use Sheena as a key to destabilize Alex, but she knew it had to be subtle. One wrong move, and she'd lose the upper hand. Luke leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "So, what's next? Are we waiting for her to make the first blunder?" JB shook his head. "Patience, Luke. The strongest pieces in this house don't reveal themselves immediately. Watch and learn." Ander, camera in hand, positioned himself discreetly, ready to record any subtle maneuver Bianca might attempt. He whispered to Alex, "We need evidence, Alex. Everything she does, every move. It will help us later if things escalate." Bianca's eyes met theirs, sharp and calculating. She knew they were aware, but she was already 10 steps ahead. The game had begun, and somewhere in the quiet corners of the mansion, Sheena continued to play, unaware of the invisible war unfolding around her. But her laughter, bright and pure, was a reminder that even in the midst of manipulation and power plays, innocence could not be controlled, not entirely. Bianca lingered by the edge of the dining room, her eyes sweeping over everyone present. Sheena, oblivious of the tension, played with her doll at the corner of the table. Alex stayed close, her hands lightly resting on her daughter's shoulders, a protective presence. Ander stood near the stairs, ever watchful, ready to intervene at the slightest sign of trouble. Bianca's lips curved in a faint, almost imperceptible smirk. She sauntered toward Sheena, kneeling to the child height. "Such a clever little one, aren't you?" she purred. "Your mommy must be very proud of you." Sheena looked up, curiosity mixing with innocence. "Yes, Mommy says so," she replied. Bianca's gaze flicked toward Alex, calculating. This was the first thread she would tug. Sheena's trust in her mother. "Tell me," Bianca continued, lowering her voice so only Sheena could hear, "does your mommy always tell you the whole truth?" Sheena blinked. "The whole truth?" "Yes, darling. Sometimes grown-ups keep secrets. Secrets can be tricky." Bianca leaned closer, a whisper dripping with false concern. "Do you ever wonder if Mommy might be keeping something from you?" Sheena frowned, a tiny crease forming between her brows. I don't know," she murmured. "Mommy doesn't keep secrets from me, does she?" Alex stepped forward instinctively, sensing the subtle attack. "Sheena, sweetheart, don't listen to her. Mommy tells you everything because she loves you." Her voice was firm but calm, masking the surge of anger rising inside her. Bianca straightened, letting the words linger. "Of course, dear. I wouldn't want to confuse you. I just like to see how observant children are. You're very smart, just like your mother," she said, her tone sweet, but her eyes cold and calculating. Luke, who had been silently observing, leaned back with a self-satisfied grin. "Oh, this is going to be fun. I can already tell she's trying to poke the hornet's nest," he muttered to no one in particular. Ander stepped closer to Alex, lowering his voice. "This isn't just a game, Alex. She's probing, learning what she can use against you. Don't let her get inside your head." Alex nodded subtly, gripping Sheena's hand tightly. "I won't. I've dealt with worse than her," she whispered. Her mind raced with strategies to shield Sheena while keeping Bianca from gaining an upper hand. Bianca, sensing she had been noticed, tilted her head, feigning innocence. "I was only trying to make friends," she said lightly. "Children need friends, don't they?" Sheena, still unsure, glanced between the two women. "Mommy, is she really nice?" Alex crouched to meet her daughter's eyes. "Yes, darling, but some people can be tricky. We must be careful. You're very clever, and you know how to listen to your heart. Always trust it." Bianca, realizing her first subtle move hadn't fully succeeded, stepped back, letting the conversation settle. She would wait, bide her time, and strike when the perfect opportunity arose. Luke chuckled softly. That's her first round, and she didn't even scratch us. This is going to be interesting. JB, quietly observing from the corner, shook his head. Let her play her little games. But remember, the Bleaks have a long memory and even longer patience. Meanwhile, Ander, ever vigilant, kept his camera rolling discreetly. Every glance, every whispered word, would be cataloged. Bianca's subtle manipulations, the reactions, the micro-expressions. It would all serve as a blueprint if this escalated further. Bianca returned to her seat, her face calm but her mind racing. She had already identified weak points. Alex's protective instincts, Sheena's innocence, and the subtle fissures in the Bleak family dynamic. Every interaction was a test, a move, a setup. Ander leaned toward Alex quietly. We need a plan for her, Alex. She's not just here to be noticed. She wants control. Alex nodded slowly, eyes still on her daughter. We'll protect Sheena, and we'll protect each other. Let her think she's winning for now. Outside, the winter sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the room. But inside the mansion, the atmosphere was tense. Every smile measured, every gesture watched. Bianca had arrived, and the real game was only just beginning. The mansion fell into a quiet hum after breakfast, the air thick with unspoken words. Bianca, seated with a deceptively serene expression, watched Sheena play with a small puzzle on the floor. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, never left the girl for long. She seemed so innocent, Bianca murmured to herself, leaning back in her chair. But that innocence can be molded. Sheena stacked a few blocks and then glanced up at Alex, who was chatting softly with Ander by the window. Bianca's lips curved into a subtle smile. She didn't need to force anything yet. Just planting seeds was enough. Sweetheart, Bianca said, lowering her voice to a sugary tone as she crouched near Sheena. Have you ever wondered why your mommy and I don't always agree? Sheena looked puzzled. I don't know. Mommy says everyone has different ideas sometimes. Exactly, darling, Bianca replied, her voice deceptively warm. But sometimes people don't tell you everything because they want to protect you. It's tricky. Sometimes even your mommy might not share everything she knows. Sheena frowned, her young mind wrestling with the words. But Mommy always tells me the truth. Bianca nodded slowly. I know, sweetheart. But sometimes even the best people can make mistakes, and not telling the whole truth can be one of them. You'll understand one day. Alex, sensing Bianca's subtle manipulation from across the room, stepped closer. Sheena, come here, she said softly, guiding her daughter into her lap. You don't need to worry about that. Mommy always tells you the truth because she loves you. Okay. Sheena nodded slowly, still uncertain, and clung to Alex. Bianca, seeing her first attempt blocked, stood and turned her attention to Luke, who had been observing silently from the corner. Your family is fascinating, Bianca said, her tone almost casual, masking the edge of her calculation. I can see why everyone is protective of each other. But I wonder what happens when someone outside tries to step in. Luke smirked. You really like to poke at people, don't you? It's cute in a dangerous kind of way. Bianca's eyes met his. Dangerous is fun, she replied softly, and then without another word left the room, her steps echoing like a warning. Luke shook his head and chuckled. She's going to be trouble, isn't she? JB, watching from the armchair, nodded gravely. She has always been trouble, but subtle. That's what makes her dangerous. Keep your eyes open. Meanwhile, Ander kept a discreet watch on Bianca from the staircase. He pulled out his phone and typed a quick note. She's already trying to manipulate Sheena. We need a plan, now. Alex, sensing the heaviness in Ander's tone, reached out and grasped his arm. We'll handle her, Ander, together. Nothing happens to Sheena while I'm around. You understand? Ander nodded, his jaw set. I understand, but she won't make it easy. She's smart, too smart. The mansion's atmosphere had shifted. The warmth of family breakfast had been replaced by a quiet tension. everyone aware that Bianca's subtle moves had begun, but none could yet grasp the full extent of her plan. Outside, the sun dipped slightly behind the winter clouds, casting long shadows across the estate. Inside, eyes watched, whispers planned, and the first sparks of a battle of wits had ignited. Ender glanced at Alex and Sheena, determination in his eyes. "Let her come. We're ready." Alex nodded, her grip tightening around her daughter. "Always." And in the shadowed corners of the mansion, Bianca smiled faintly to herself, knowing the real game was just beginning. The house settled into an uneasy quiet after Bianca's departure, but the tension lingered like a shadow. Sheena, sensing the undercurrent, clung to Alex as they walked toward the sitting room. "Mommy, why does Bianca seem mean?" she asked softly, her small brows furrowed. Alex knelt to meet her daughter's eyes. "Sweetheart, some people are complicated. They say things that can confuse others, but we don't let it change who we are, okay?" Sheena nodded slowly, her innocence mingled with a creeping curiosity. From the corner, Luke, still seated at the table, watched them. His fingers tapped idly against the armrest, a smirk playing at his lips. "Looks like she's already trying to worm her way into the little one's head," he murmured to JB, who had been observing silently. "Indeed," JB replied, his voice low. "Bianca knows the family's weaknesses, and she'll exploit them if we're not careful. Alex must guard Sheena, and Ander must watch Bianca. That's the only way we keep control." Meanwhile, upstairs, Ander was already formulating a plan. He knew Bianca's charm and subtle manipulation were dangerous, and Sheena's innocence made her the perfect target. He picked up his phone and sent a message to Alex. "We need a strategy. She's testing boundaries already." Alex, reading the message, frowned. "Understood," she whispered, tightening her hold on Sheena. "I won't let her touch her, not in any way." Just then, the mansion door opened abruptly. Bianca stepped back in, carrying a decorative box in her hands. "I thought I'd make a small gesture," she announced, her voice dripping with feigned sweetness. "It's a gift for Sheena. I thought it might soften her feelings toward me." Alex's eyes narrowed. "Sheena doesn't need gifts to know who loves her and who doesn't," she said firmly, standing between her daughter and Bianca. Bianca tilted her head, a sly smile curving her lips. "Oh, Alex," always so defensive, but sometimes even the strongest boundaries can be nudged. She extended the box toward Sheena. "Sheena, what do you say?" Bianca asked, her tone almost coaxing. Sheena hesitated, glancing up at her mother. Alex's protective gaze was unwavering. "Mommy, what should I do?" she whispered. "Let's not take it, darling," Alex replied gently, her hand resting on Sheena's shoulder. "We don't need her gifts." Bianca's smile didn't falter. "Suit yourself," she said softly, placing the box on the table and stepping back. "But remember, actions speak louder than words, and sometimes it's the quiet ones who make the loudest impact." She turned and walked out of the room, leaving a lingering tension behind her. Luke exhaled slowly. "She's playing a dangerous game," he muttered, shaking his head. "And the thing is, she's just getting started." JB stood from his chair. "Then we make sure the family stands strong. Alex, Ander, Sheena, we all need to be on the same side. That's the only way to weather Bianca's storm." Alex nodded, determination settling in her eyes. "We will. No matter what she throws at us, we won't let her win." Ander, emerging from the staircase, placed a hand on her shoulder. "We're ready. Let her come." Outside, the winter sun dipped lower, shadows stretching across the estate. Inside, the family's resolve solidified. The subtle war Bianca had begun would not go unchecked, and the Bleaks were ready to fight. Together. Sheena, perched safely on her mother's lap, glanced toward the door Bianca had exited, her small eyes full of curiosity. "Mommy, will she come back?" Alex smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "Yes, sweetheart. But don't worry. We'll be ready." And with that, the family sat together. Their unity as shield against the storm Bianca was quietly brewing. Bianca's steps were quiet, almost predatory, as she moved through the mansion corridors. She had left the dining room with a plan already forming in her mind. Her eyes flicked to the family portraits lining the walls. Alex, Ander, Sheena, all symbols of what she needed to dismantle. Back in the sitting room, Alex finally allowed herself to breathe. Sheena had curled up beside her, still clutching her mother's hand. "Mommy, why does she want to fight us?" the little girl asked softly. Alex shook her head. "Some people want control, darling. It's not about you personally. It's about power." Ander, sitting opposite them, frowned. "She's dangerous. She's smart and manipulative. We can't underestimate her. Every move she makes will have a reason behind it." Alex nodded, her expression determined. "Then we stay ahead of her. We make sure Sheena is safe and that she doesn't get a chance to twist things between us." From the hallway, Luke's voice called out, breaking the moment. "Alex, Ander, I've been thinking. Bianca's testing us, but she doesn't know how united we are. If we make one misstep, she'll capitalize. I have an idea to limit her influence." Ander leaned forward. "Go on." Luke's smirk returned. "We make sure she has no private access. Every room she enters, every interaction she has with Sheena is monitored. We subtly control the environment without her noticing. And if she tries to isolate anyone, we swoop in immediately." Alex's eyes brightened. "Yes, and we teach Sheena to trust her instincts. She's smart for her age, and she can recognize who truly loves her." Meanwhile, upstairs, Bianca prepared her next move. She carefully unwrapped the decorative box she had left on the table. Inside were small trinkets and a handmade doll. She knew Sheena's curiosity would eventually lead her back. Bianca smiled, her thoughts dark. This is how it starts. Once the child trusts me, Alex becomes vulnerable. Downstairs, Ander checked his phone. A message from Zico blinked. "I've found more files you need. Call me when ready." Ander's jaw tightened. The Bleaks had always relied on information to stay one step ahead. Now, Zico's intel could be the key to exposing Bianca's past schemes, or at least keeping her from gaining leverage. Alex stood, stretching slightly. "Let's take Sheena for a walk outside. Fresh air will help us think clearly." Ander smiled, offering his arm to his sister. "Lead the way, sis. We need a plan, and sometimes clarity comes with movement." Outside, the winter air was crisp. Sheena ran ahead, laughing, her earlier worries momentarily forgotten. Alex watched her, heart swelling. She deserves safety, love, and a home without fear, and we'll give it to her, no matter what Bianca tries. Ander followed, his mind already racing through strategies. Bianca would strike soon. He could feel in the way the wind shifted, and the quiet of the mansion lingered like a warning. But the Bleaks were ready. Every member of the family, from the eldest patriarch to the youngest, had aligned themselves. Bianca may have had cunning, but they had unity, love, and the resolve to protect what mattered most. A shadow moved across the driveway, just on the edge of their vision. Alex turned slightly, catching the glint of eyes watching them. Bianca had arrived, again, and this time, she wasn't coming empty-handed. Sheena's laughter echoed across the courtyard, bright and carefree, until a subtle shadow shifted near the hedges. She stopped mid-run, her eyes narrowing. Alex instinctively stepped closer, placing a protective hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Mommy, it's her," Sheena whispered, her small voice tense. Alex followed her gaze and saw Bianca emerging from behind the bushes, a forced smile on her face, her eyes sharp and calculating. In her hand, she held a small bouquet of flowers, but Alex noticed the deliberate way she extended them, not in kindness, but as a calculated gesture. "Hello, darling Sheena," Bianca said sweetly, the words dripping with insincerity. "I thought I'd bring you something nice. I know you've been missing me." Sheena recoiled slightly, instinctively looking at Alex and Ander for reassurance. "Mommy, why is she here again?" Alex's eyes hardened. "Because she thinks she can intimidate us, sweetie. But she's wrong. Stay close to me." Bianca's smile widened, almost predatory. "Oh, Alex, always so protective. But isn't it cute how the little one already trusts me? Don't you want your daughter to experience family? I can give her attention, care, warmth." Ander stepped forward, his jaw tight. "Back off, Bianca." Sheena is safe with us. You're not giving her anything she doesn't already have: love, stability, and a real family. Bianca's eyes flickered to Ander, and for a moment her composure wavered. Then she regained it, laughter lightly in her tone. Oh, I like him. Always so ready to defend. But don't think this ends here. I came prepared, and I know exactly what to do to make all of you squirm. Alex's grip on Sheena's hand tightened. Whatever your plan is, it won't work. You've underestimated us from the start. You can't manipulate love or family loyalty. Bianca tilted her head, her smile cold. We'll see, won't we? Children are impressionable, and adults can be distracted. Just as she stepped closer, Sheena stepped back, a flash of courage in her eyes. I don't want your flowers. I don't want your tricks. I just want my mommy and my family. Alex felt a rush of pride and relief. She hugged her daughter tightly. That's right, Sheena. That's exactly right. Bianca's face darkened. She realized the child's trust in her mother, and the family was unshakable. Yet, she wasn't ready to retreat. This isn't over, she hissed, before spinning on her heel and disappearing into the shadows of the courtyard. Ander exhaled, rubbing his temple. She's smart and dangerous, but at least she's gone for now. Alex held Sheena close, her own resolve strengthening. We protect what's ours. No one will take her away from us. Not Bianca, not anyone. Sheena smiled, leaning into her mother. I like it when you say that, Mommy. I feel safe. Ander's eyes softened as he watched the mother and daughter, the bond between them unbreakable. He knew the real fight was only beginning, but for now, they had a moment of peace, a small victory in the looming storm. In the distance, behind the shadows, Bianca's silhouette paused. She clenched her fists, eyes burning with determination. This is just the beginning, she muttered under her breath. And the Bleaks, united and vigilant, were ready for whatever came next. That evening, the mansion was unusually quiet. Alex tucked Sheena into bed, kissing her forehead with a lingering sense of protectiveness. Ander lingered in the hallway, scanning the windows and gates, a silent guardian. Even with Sheena asleep, the tension in the air refused to dissipate. I don't like this calm, Ander muttered, pacing. Bianca isn't the type to disappear quietly. She's planning something. Alex nodded, tightening the blanket around Sheena. I know, and she won't stop until she causes chaos. But we can't let her succeed. Not now, not ever. Downstairs, Luke lounged on the couch, swirling a glass of water, his mind drifting. He knew Bianca too well. Her manipulations were subtle, precise, and dangerous. If she thinks she can play us against each other, she's going to be disappointed, he murmured. Across town, Bianca sat in her car, parked just far enough from the Bleaks' mansion to observe. She had left the flowers behind as bait, but her real plan was more sinister. A flash drive, hidden in her coat pocket, contained information she had painstakingly gathered over the past weeks. Documents, contacts, and whispers from people desperate to climb the social ladder. They think they're untouchable, she thought, eyes glinting. But every empire has a weak link, and I know theirs. She pulled out her phone and dialed. It's time. Execute the plan tonight. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Senior Bleak and JB sat in the study, their conversation hushed. She's clever, JB admitted, folding his hands. But she underestimates the strength of this family. Alex and Ander, they're prepared for far worse than she imagines. Senior Bleak frowned. Clever or not, we mustn't be complacent. Bianca isn't just a distraction. She's a threat. One wrong move, and she could ruin everything Josh and Alex have built. In the kitchen, the staff busied themselves with evening preparations, unaware that tonight could bring more than just a normal dinner. Outside, a soft hum of a car engine approached. Ander's instincts tingled. Something's coming, he whispered, moving toward the window. Alex joined him, peering into the darkness. A black sedan rolled slowly past the gates, its occupants hidden from view. Ander's eyes narrowed. It's her, he said grimly. And she's not alone. Alex placed a hand on his arm. We face her together. Whatever she brings, we don't let her divide us. As the clock struck 9, the mansion's tranquility shattered. Bianca's first move had begun. From the shadows, an unexpected ally emerged, someone who had been watching the Bleaks for weeks, someone who knew their routines, their weaknesses, their secrets. And tonight, they would make their presence known. Inside, the family remained unaware, yet the storm was closer than anyone could imagine. The mansion was quiet, but the calm was only a facade. Bianca's plan was in motion. From the shadows, her accomplice moved silently, slipping through the gates with the precision of someone who had studied the estate for weeks. Every camera, every guard's routine had been mapped. Tonight, there would be no mistakes. Inside, Alex and Ander were in the living room, discussing plans for the holidays. Sheena's laughter echoed from her room, a brief spark of innocence amidst the looming storm. Ander's brow furrowed as he glanced at the window. "Something feels off," he muttered. Alex followed his gaze. "I know. I can feel it too. Bianca's not just here to cause a scene. She's planning something bigger." Suddenly, the lights flickered. A soft click echoed from the kitchen. Ander's hand went to his pocket, fingers brushing the small stun device he always carried. "Stay calm. Don't panic," he whispered. Before Alex could respond, the front doors opened silently. Too silently. A shadow slipped through. Ander tensed, moving toward the figure. "Who's there?" he called, his voice steady but edged with caution. From the darkness, a familiar voice echoed. "Hello, Bleaks. Did you miss me?" Bianca stepped into the light, a calculated smile on her face. Behind her, a man in dark clothes carried a briefcase, her secret weapon. Alex's heart raced. "Bianca, what are you doing here?" Bianca's eyes sparkled with malicious delight. "What does it look like?" "I'm here to take what's mine, and maybe teach a few lessons along the way." Ander stepped protectively in front of Alex. "Stay away from the family. Whatever game you're playing, it ends now." Bianca tilted her head, amused. "Oh, Ander, always so serious. You should relax. I've come prepared." She gestured to the man behind her, who opened the briefcase, revealing files, photos, and documents clearly stolen from the Bleaks' private archives. Alex's hands clenched. "You won't get away with this. JB, Senior Bleak, someone—" Bianca raised a finger. "Patience, my dear. All in good time. For now, let's see how much you really trust each other." She pulled out a small envelope and tossed it onto the coffee table. Ander caught it midair and opened it. Inside were photos of Sheena, Alex, and even Ander himself, alongside snippets of private conversations. Moments meant to stay between family members. Ander's jaw tightened. You're trying to manipulate us." Bianca's grin widened. "Not manipulate, test. I want to see if the Bleaks can stay united when the past is used against them. After all, family secrets are the easiest weapon to wield." Alex stepped forward. "You'll fail, Bianca. Our family is stronger than any scheme you can concoct." Bianca laughed, a cold, cutting sound. "We'll see about that." She turned, gesturing for her accomplice to follow, and moved toward the staircase. "Enjoy your little test, Bleaks. Tonight, the real games begin." As she disappeared into shadows, Ander picked up the envelope again, scanning its contents. Alex grabbed his arm. "We have to stop her before she goes further. We need a plan." Ander nodded. "We do, and it starts now. No mistakes, no delays. She thinks she has the upper hand, but she hasn't met the real Bleaks yet." From the darkness outside, Bianca's eyes glinted. She knew the first move had been made, and soon the Bleaks would realize that her presence was more than a mere nuisance. Tonight, alliances would be tested. Secrets would surface, and the Bleaks would either come out stronger or fall victim to the cleverest intrusion their family had ever faced. Later that evening, the mansion was unusually quiet. The sun had dipped below the horizon, and the grand halls were dimly lit by the soft glow of chandeliers. Alex and Ander sat at the dining table, poring over the contents of the envelope Bianca had left. Sheena, exhausted from the day's emotional chaos, had been tucked into bed, her soft breathing filling the room with a fleeting sense of calm. Ander's hands trembled slightly as he sorted through the files. These are all private." "How did she even get them?" he muttered. Alex's lips pressed into a thin line. It doesn't matter now. What matters is what we do next. She wants us divided. She thinks if she plays our fears against us, we'll crumble. We won't. A sudden sound at the front door made them freeze. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Anders stood, moving silently to the window. She's back. I can feel it. Before Alex could react, the doors opened, revealing Bianca, dressed sharply in black, her expression unreadable. Behind her, the man from earlier carried a small, sophisticated briefcase. "Evening, Bleaks," Bianca said softly, her tone almost casual, but the air around her was sharp, cutting. "I hope you've had time to think. About your little secrets. About what it means to be vulnerable." Alex stepped forward. "This ends now, Bianca. Whatever your plan is, it stops here." Bianca tilted her head. "Oh, it doesn't end until I say it ends. You see, I'm not here to threaten your life or your family. I'm here to prove a point. Everyone has something to hide. And the Bleaks, well, you're plenty." Ander clenched his fists. "Leave. Now, or I swear." Bianca smiled faintly, almost cruelly. "Or what? You'll try to stop me?" "Sweet Ander, I admire your courage, but courage alone doesn't stop a storm." She opened the briefcase, sliding out a small device that looked like a high-tech recorder. This little toy records everything. Every argument, every secret conversation. By morning, the mansion will know, and then we'll see what family loyalty really means. Alex's chest tightened. She had expected Bianca to be manipulative, but this was calculated terror. "You won't get away with this. JB, Senior Bleak, they'll stop you." Bianca's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Ah, but that's the beauty of it. They won't even know yet. By the time they learn, the damage is already done. And you," she stepped closer, her voice lowering, "you will have to make choices you never thought you'd face." Anders' hand shot out, grabbing the device. Bianca's accomplice lunged to stop him, but Ander was faster, twisting the recorder away. Bianca's lips curled into a frustrated sneer. "You think this is over?" she hissed. "This was just the opening move. And mark my words, if you don't play your cards carefully, tonight will be the night everything falls apart for the Bleaks." Alex stepped between them, holding Anders' arm. "Then we'll stand together. Whatever you throw at us, we won't fall." Bianca paused, her smile cold and unwavering. "Very well, then let the games begin." And with that, she turned and left, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floors. Outside, the night was still, but the mansion itself seemed to hold its breath. Ander looked at Alex, eyes blazing. "She's dangerous. This isn't just a fight for pride. It's a battle for our family." Alex nodded. "Then we fight, and we win. No one threatens my family. Not Bianca, not anyone." In the shadows, unseen by them, a faint smirk appeared on Bianca's face. She knew the first move had been made, and the Bleaks had just stepped into her trap. That night, the mansion seemed unervingly quiet. Shadows stretched long across the hallways, and the flickering light from the chandeliers cast shifting shapes on the walls. Alex and Ander sat in the library, still processing Bianca's audacious move. The recorder she had attempted to plant was safely in Anders' hands, but its presence was a chilling reminder of how close Bianca had come to destabilizing everything. "I can't believe she actually tried this," Alex whispered, her fingers wrapped tightly around a mug of tea. "It's like she wanted to terrorize us, piece by piece." Anders' jaw tightened. "She's not just playing games. She's testing us. And I swear if she touches Sheena stays in her room tonight. We'll keep her safe. No risk," Alex said firmly, though her heart thumped with unease. "We have to be smarter than her. We can't let her manipulate us." Outside, a faint rustle echoed near the entrance. Ander moved to the window, scanning the perimeter. Nothing, but the mansion had eyes everywhere, and so did Bianca. Meanwhile, in the quiet of her own space, Bianca was already plotting her next move. The recorder incident had given her insight into the Bleaks' defenses. She smiled to herself. Clever, but predictable. They're cautious, but caution only slows the inevitable. She turned to her accomplice. "We'll escalate. Tomorrow morning, The family wakes to an anonymous delivery, something they can't ignore, something that will force their hand. Back in the mansion, JB and Senior Bleak had been alerted to the day's earlier chaos. JB had quickly deduced that Bianca's presence was more than an ordinary disruption. There was a calculated intent behind it. "She's dangerous," JB said quietly to Senior Bleak, watching the youngest generation retreat upstairs. "And she knows exactly how to manipulate everyone. Alex and her, they're too trusting." Senior Bleak nodded gravely. "I know, but they're strong, and we've faced storms before. We'll face this one together." At that moment, the clock struck midnight. The mansion, once lively and warm, now seemed like a fortress bracing for an unseen attack. Alex lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thoughts racing. Ander was in the room next door, restless, still processing the day's events. Suddenly, a soft knock came at Alex's door. Her heart skipped. "Who is it?" she called softly. "Alex, it's me," came Ander's voice. She unlocked the door, and he stepped in, expression tense. "I don't want you alone tonight. Bianca won't stop, and I don't trust her not to try something." Alex smiled faintly. "Then we'll face it together, just like everything else." Ander nodded, pulling a chair close. "We make a plan. We anticipate her moves. She thinks she can isolate us, but she can't. She underestimates the Bleaks." Outside, Bianca watched from the shadows, unseen. She had planted the first piece of her plan, and in the morning, chaos would follow. The question was, would the Bleaks fall for it or rise stronger than she expected? The night stretched on, a quiet battlefield of strategy and anticipation. For every move Bianca made, Alex and Ander prepared a counter. And somewhere deep inside, the young Bleaks were learning that the fiercest battles often began before sunrise. The first rays of dawn barely crept to the mansion's towering windows when the silence was shattered by the chime of the front gate bell. Alex, still groggy from a restless night, furrowed her brows. Who could that be this early? Ander, already alert, moved toward the door. Peeking through the peephole, he saw a uniformed courier holding a large, unmarked package. "It's not signed and no return address," he muttered. Alex stepped forward. "Leave it here. I'll handle it." She opened the door cautiously, her instinct sharp. The courier nodded and handed over the box with a stiff bow before leaving. Alex shut the door, but the feeling in the pit of her stomach was heavy. She knew this had Bianca's signature audacity written all over it. Ander bent down to inspect the package. "It's light, but I don't like this." He looked at Alex, concern etched in his features. "Open it here?" Alex hesitated for only a second before nodding. Together, they lifted the lid. Inside lay an assortment of old letters, photographs, and documents, evidence meticulously curated. Each piece hinting at family secrets, rivalries, and past mistakes the Bleaks had long buried. "Sheena," Alex whispered, thinking of the little girl and how exposed she could become if Bianca's plan escalated. "We need to protect her first." Ander's eyes narrowed. This is more than a threat. This is an attempt to destabilize us emotionally, to break the family apart from the inside. Meanwhile, Bianca watched from a nearby street corner, invisible and calm, a faint smirk on her face. "Exactly as planned," she murmured. "By the time they see it, they won't know where to start." Inside, the Bleaks' dining room soon became the stage for an unexpected storm. JB and Senior Bleak had just finished breakfast with Sheena when Ander and Alex walked in, package in hand. "Family meeting," Alex announced, her tone leaving no room for argument. Everyone gathered, curiosity and unease knitting the air tightly around them. Sheena, sensing the tension, tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mommy, are we in trouble?" "No, darling," Alex whispered, but her eyes betrayed the uncertainty. "We're going to handle it, okay?" Alex placed the contents of the package on the table. Luke raised an eyebrow. Bianca, seated at the far end of the room, scowled, sensing that her move had drawn attention sooner than she anticipated. "These all belong to the Bleaks?" Luke asked, picking up a photo. His eyes widened as he recognized moments he had only seen in passing or heard stories about. JB leaned forward, fist tightening on the table. "This is Bianca Hunter's doing. She's trying to provoke us, make us doubt one another, and use our history against us. Bianca's lips curled into a sly smile. I'm merely giving you a chance to face your truths, she said sweetly, though venom laced every word. Or do you fear what they might reveal? Sheena, oblivious to the undercurrents, climbed onto her grandfather's lap, whispering, Grandpa, I don't like her. JB's gaze softened as he looked at his granddaughter. We'll handle her, Sheena. Don't worry. Ander, now standing beside Alex, whispered, We need a plan. She wants us divided. We can't give her the satisfaction. Alex nodded. Step 1. Secure Sheena and the kids. Step 2. Analyze every document and figure out what's real and what's fabricated. Step 3. We hit back strategically. She won't know what hit her. Luke, smirking despite the tension, added, Looks like breakfast just turned into war council. Bianca thought she could play us like pawns, but she's forgotten one thing. We Bleaks don't fold that easily. Ander glanced at Alex, resolve in his eyes. Let her make her move. We'll be ready. Outside, the winter sun was beginning to rise fully, but inside the mansion, a storm was just beginning. And Bianca had unknowingly lit the fuse that would ignite it. Bianca's smirk lingered as she observed from a distance, confident that chaos would erupt within the mansion walls. She didn't notice the subtle shift in the Bleak's demeanor, the calm readiness that Alex and Ander radiated. She was playing a game she thought she controlled, but the players were far from predictable. Inside, Alex sat with Sheena on her lap, going through each letter and photograph carefully. Ander leaned over, pointing at one of the documents. This one, it's a lie. Look at the date. It doesn't match anything else we have. She's manipulating the timeline to make us doubt each other. Alex nodded, lips pressed in a determined line. That's her tactic. Confuse us, make us question our family, our memories. We have to document everything, mark what's authentic and what isn't. Sheena, still curious, reached for one of the old photographs. Mommy, who is this lady? Alex froze for a second. The woman in the photo was smiling warmly, but there was an uncanny resemblance to Bianca. She looked down at Sheena, gently taking the photo. That's someone from the past, darling. Nothing to worry about. Let's focus on today. Meanwhile, Luke, sensing an opportunity, approached Bianca. You really think scattering these old documents is enough to intimidate them? He asked, voice dripping with amusement. You forget. I know the Bleaks better than you do. They'll see through your little schemes. Bianca's eyes narrowed, a flicker of irritation breaking her calm facade. And you, what do you know of it, Luke? I control the information now. They can't resist the truth when it's right in front of them. Luke chuckled, leaning closer. The problem is, truth is never one-sided. You're counting on fear and confusion, but they have something you'll never understand. Trust. Trust in each other. And that's why your plan will fail. Inside the mansion, Ander closed the folder with decisive snap. Step 1 complete. We've sorted what's real, what's fake, and what she's trying to use to manipulate Sheena. Now, we need to anticipate her next move. Alex's hand tightened around Sheena's. She's going to push for a confrontation. She wants to bait Josh to make him choose, or at least make him react emotionally. We can't let her. She'll escalate if we let fear guide us. Sheena, sensing the tension, whispered, Mommy, can I help? Alex smiled, a mixture of pride and sadness in her eyes. You already are, sweetie. Just being brave is enough. Ander moved toward the window, scanning the grounds. Look, she's approaching. Bianca, she's coming into the mansion. Alex exhaled. Then it's time. Everyone be calm, controlled. Don't give her the reaction she wants. Stay united. Bianca stepped through the grand doors, the picture of confidence and authority. But as she walked further, she noticed the silence. No chaos, no argument, no visible fear. Instead, the Bleaks, Alex, Ander, JB, Senior Bleak, and even Luke stood together, calm and unwavering. Her smile faltered for the first time that morning. She had underestimated them. And in that moment, a subtle fear crept in. For all her planning, she hadn't accounted for the Bleaks' resilience and their unity. Welcome back, Miss Hunter, Ander said calmly, his voice carrying the weight of quiet authority. We've reviewed your little gifts. Do you care to explain yourself before things get unpleasant? Bianca's eyes darted from one face to another. For the first time, she realized she might be outmatched. You can't just... Luke interrupted, stepping beside Ander. Oh, we can, and we will. But right now, we're giving you a chance to explain. Speak wisely. Sheena, standing by Alex's side, tugged at her mother's hand. Mommy, can we stop her from being mean? Alex crouched to Sheena's level, brushing her hair back. We're not stopping her with anger, darling. We're stopping her by showing her she can't control us. That's the real strength. Bianca's confidence wavered, just slightly, but enough for the Bleaks to know. They had the upper hand. Bianca's eyes flickered with irritation as she realized her usual tactics weren't working. She had expected resistance, but not the calm, unshakable composure radiating from Alex and Ander. She took a deep breath, forcing her smile back into place. So, you've gone through my little surprises, she said, her voice icy yet measured. And what? You think standing together like some perfect family makes you untouchable? Ander stepped forward slightly, his expression calm but firm. No one is untouchable. But what we are is aware. We know your games, Bianca. We've seen the attempts to manipulate, to control, to create doubt. And it won't work, at least not on us. Luke, arms crossed, leaned against the wall with a smirk. You're going to have to try harder than old letters and half-truths. The Bleaks are stronger together than you think. And you've already wasted your first move. Bianca's fingers clenched, her nails pressing into her palms. She hadn't expected them to be so prepared, so united. She glanced at Sheena, who was quietly observing the exchange, her little brow furrowed. The girl's innocence was disarming, and yet it was a reminder to Bianca. This wasn't just about her manipulating adults anymore. Children were watching, learning, and unknowingly influencing the battlefield. You think you've won, Bianca said, her voice rising slightly. But this isn't over. I have ways that you haven't even considered. Alex straightened, placing protective hand on Sheena's shoulder. We're not afraid of what you have, Bianca. What we're afraid of is letting you hurt someone we love. And we won't let that happen. Bianca's eyes narrowed and she stepped closer, but Ander moved smoothly to block her advance. Physical threats won't help either. We know your type. You try to dominate, to intimidate, but we don't fold. Not anymore. Sheena, emboldened by her mother and brother, stepped forward, clutching Alex's hand. Mommy, I told you. She's not bad. She's just confused. The words caught Bianca off guard. For a moment, the air between them thickened with tension. Confused? The girl dared reduce her careful strategy to something so simple, so innocent. She glared at Sheena but found no malice in her gaze. Only clarity, honesty, and trust in those who had always loved her. Alex knelt to Sheena's level, smiling softly. Exactly, darling. She's confused. But we don't have a fight with anger. We just need to stand strong, and she'll see that she can't control us. Bianca felt a flicker of panic, a rare sensation. She had always relied on fear, manipulation, and strategic advantage. But these people, these Bleaks, they didn't react with fear. They reacted with unity, with understanding, with strength she couldn't anticipate. Luke broke the silence with a calm, measured tone. You've underestimated us. That's your mistake. You can try to disrupt, to create chaos, but the Bleaks don't break. And neither do we. Bianca's mind raced. She had prepared for manipulation, for deceit, for confrontation, but not this level of composure, not the quiet power of a family who understood each other better than she could ever hope to understand them. Very well, she hissed, her voice cold but with a tinge of reluctant respect. If this is how you want it, fine. But don't think this is the end. You've only postponed inevitable. Ander, calm but resolute, stepped closer. The inevitable isn't fear. It's truth, and we've got that on our side. So choose wisely, because we won't give you another chance to hurt us. Bianca's jaw tightened. She stared at them for a long moment, then slowly turned and walked away, leaving the Bleaks standing firm, unshaken and united. Sheena tugged at Alex's sleeve. Mommy, did I do good? Alex smiled, pulling her into a hug. You did, sweetheart. You were brave, and you reminded her that power isn't everything. Love and unity. That's stronger than any game she could play. Ander looked at his sister and niece, a rare smile breaking across his face. We're stronger than we realized. And no one is going to come between us. Outside, Bianca's mind whirled with frustration. Today hadn't gone as planned, but she was far from finished. And though she had lost this battle, she knew the war was just beginning. Inside the mansion, the Bleaks returned to their seats, hearts steadied and spirits renewed. They had faced the storm, and, for now, they had won. Bianca retreated to her room, slamming the door with enough force to rattle the walls. Her mind spun, furious at how everything had unfolded. She had underestimated the Bleaks' unity, their strength, their ability to see through her manipulation. But she was nothing if not persistent. If today was a loss, the next move would be hers, and it would be decisive. She leaned against the wall, her fingers tightening around the armrest of her chair. They think they're untouchable. They think they're safe. But they've never faced me like this before. Meanwhile, downstairs, the Bleaks resumed their breakfast in a quieter, more thoughtful mood. Ander, Alex, and Sheena sat together, the warmth of their bond cushioning the tension from before. Luke quietly nibbled on his toast, eyes flicking toward the door Bianca had gone through, his instincts telling him this was far from over. She's planning something, Luke said quietly, breaking the silence. You can feel it in the air. That's the kind of person who doesn't let a single setback stop her. Alex nodded. I know, but whatever it is, we'll handle it together. Sheena, sitting between them, chewed on a piece of fruit thoughtfully. Mommy, will she hurt us? Alex reached over, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. No, darling. She might try, but we're careful. And we have each other. That's the important part. Ander, his gaze firm, added, Exactly. She can try all she wants. But she won't break us, not our family, not our bonds. That's power she'll never have. Outside, Bianca's mind raced with her next steps. She couldn't confront them head-on, not yet. She needed leverage, a way to strike at their weaknesses without them realizing it. She thought back to the past, to the little things she had noticed over the years, and an idea began to take shape, a plan that would test the family in ways they hadn't imagined. And they'll never see it coming. Back at the mansion, the rest of the day passed in tense anticipation. Alex and Ander decided to take Sheena for a walk in the garden, hoping the fresh air would lift everyone's spirits. As they strolled among the blooming flowers and trimmed hedges, Alex's phone buzzed. It was a message from Josh. I'll be home in an hour. Be ready. There's something we need to discuss, carefully. Alex frowned, feeling the weight of the warning. She knew Josh well enough to sense urgency, and her heart sank a little. Whatever he had discovered today, or whatever Bianca was planning next, it couldn't be good. Ander noticed a change in his sister. Something wrong. Alex shook her head. Just a feeling. Josh is worried. And I have a bad feeling about Bianca. Today was just the beginning. I can feel it. Ander put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Then we prepare. Whatever she throws at us, we face it as a family. No surprises, no fear. As they turned back toward the mansion, a sleek black car slowly rolled up to the gate, its windows tinted. Inside, Bianca sat with a calculating smile. She had made her first observation, gauged the reactions, and now the real game was about to begin. The Bleaks had survived the morning unscathed, but the storm on the horizon promised to be unlike anything they had faced before. And somewhere deep inside, each of them knew the next move would define everything.